So the Padme Amidala event just came back to Galaxy of Heroes. She's showing her beautiful face for the second time, and this event is now easier than ever before because we got so much love for the Separatists ever since the first Padme event. If you recall, the first time we had the Padme event, it was basically General Grievous and his droids, and it was really hard to find other ways to beat it. But ever since the first Padme event, we've gotten reworks for Count Dooku, new Gunray, Geonosians. We got the addition of the Geonosian Brood Alpha. So what I've been hearing, what I'm going to show you guys today, is that this event is now easier than ever before. And the reason why I'm making this video today is for people to kind of have a mini farming guide on what they should be using right now if they're trying the event. We're going to talk a little bit about strategy, why you really want to try to get Padme Amidala this time around. I think it's really important to get Padme right now if you can, and then we're going to start going over other things such as what teams can Padme be and what compositions can you create revolving around the Galactic Republic faction, because we've done extensive testing for raids as well as team compositions on what Padme and her crew can do. Now, before we get going with the guide and what you can do with Padme Amidala and how to beat the event, the important thing to know is that the developers the other day confirmed that they're working on a Darth Malak style of event known as an epic confrontation. And it seems like because all this content this year has been Clone Wars era related, this character may be needed for this future epic confrontation event, or at the minimum, what I'm thinking is whatever's coming out this epic confrontation event might make Padme Amidala's team a lot stronger, like BB-8. First time BB-8 came around, nothing special was going on. He was a good character, but by the second time his event came around, Jedi Training Rey was around, and Jedi Training Rey made BB-8 so much better. So keep your eyes peeled because we're getting deep into this quarter, and probably we're going to see another sort of legendary epic confrontation journey style event sometime in the near future. But let's talk about the mini farming guide, because man, I wish I was getting Padme Amidala this time around because there are so many free-to-play ways to easily beat this event. I'm going to share some screenshots of people who sent stuff my way because I can't replay the event, unfortunately. Once you beat it, you can't go back and play it again. So some people have been saying you can use a full Geonosian Brood Alpha team. On paper, it sounds like it's going to be a mess because of all the constant buffs out of turn, or the protection up that Padme Amidala grants through her unique ability, but people have been reporting they've been able to do it with a full Geonosian Brood Alpha team. Count Dooku and Nuke Gunray, these characters are also going to be kind of nice. Yes, Count Dooku attacks out of turn, but with his anti-Galactic Republic stuff going on in his kit, he's going to stun a lot, he's going to shock a lot, so that should help control the amount of buffs, because as we're going to talk briefly about the strategy in a few moments, being able to control the protection up at the end of the day is going to be kind of your main focus and priority. Nuke Gunray, he is another super free-to-play accessible character, and I have used this character so extensively, even without the Zeta. This character is brilliant. Maybe not top tier in the game, but he offers so much for a Separatist team and just for theory crafting teams in general, mainly because of his extortion capabilities through dubious dealings, because extortion has like several layers of stuff going on, such as being able to slow down the enemy, being able to help increase your speed, being able to control buffs. And that's the main thing I want to bring up, because one of the #1 strategies is controlling buffs through buff dispelling of some sort, and through extortion is going to spread like wildfire on the opposing team, especially if you're doing the Nuke Gunray leadership. And these characters that are trying to get protection up through the Padme Amidala event, Nuke Gunray is just going to slurp up those protection up buffs and taunt. And then of course you can go down the General Grievous route. General Grievous with his Zeta Metalloid monstrosity is what got people Padme Amidala the first time around. Now, if you want to see how I did it without using pay-to-play characters and using unreworked characters, I have the strategy in the top right-hand corner. Basically, my strategy came down to having lots of buff dispels with a lot of my unreworked characters, such as Sun Fac and Asajj Ventress, I believe. At the end of the day, what seems to be the most important, if you're trying to go in with the least requirements possible, is at least try to have General Grievous and a bunch of buff dispels, such as Magna Guard. He can dispel on Stunning Strike. It's not a permanent buff dispel, but at least it's something to keep the field controlled. And B2 Super Battle Droid, he is almost a must-have. He will also make the event very easy because of his constant capabilities to keep going in there and keep getting tons of turn meter to step in and use mode out and keep applying debuffs over and over again and keep the buff immunity flowing. So let's now talk about what can you do with Padme Amidala. You got her. Not even talking too much about the future because the future is speculative, but it seems like Padme Amidala is going to be an important character for something incoming in the future, whether she's required for something or a new character is going to amplify her viability. A lot of potential seems to be on the brink for Padme Amidala Amidala. But right now, there is a lot of stuff you can do for Padme in the raids, and as well as PvP content such as Arena, as well as Grand Arena and Territory Wars. Now, if you see my team ranking video, you will know at this point that Padme Amidala is within the top 4 teams in Galaxy of Heroes. Darth Revan and Malak being number 1. Then you got characters like General Grievous and Jedi Knight Revan and Padme Amidala. Those are your 4 most dominant and popular teams in Galaxy of Heroes at the moment. And there's a lot you can do with them right now. But for me personally, I've done a variety of testing with Padme Amidala, and especially I took a lot of time trying to find things that do not require top tier characters to make them work, because one of the things people like to do is try to save their big characters such as Yoda or C-3PO and whatnot for other teams. Now, I've made videos on every single one of these teams at this point. All of these teams are very good for a variety of things. This team right here is C-3PO, seems to be the consensus of being the best Padme Amidala team right now, because this is the team that can most consistently beat a Darth Revan and a Darth Malak team, which we've shown before. Again, I have links to videos I've made in the past about this. But also you have other options. One of the teams that uses the least amount of important characters is this team right here. I'm not even kidding, with Clone Wars Chewbacca and Barriss. You need the Zeta on Barriss to make it happen, but this team can beat a non-Malak Darth Revan team, and it also can time out and beat a Jedi Knight Revan team as well. It's a very good team to use if you're trying to use the bare minimum requirements, not using General Kenobi, C-3PO, Yoda, Shakti, and whatnot. All these characters really aren't needed for anything else in the game. So the point I'm trying to make is Padme Amidala brings a lot of viability to the Galactic Republic because of the courage mechanic. Now, Zetas as well. This is probably a character you want to start building up the Zetas for. Again, trying to prepare for the future if you're in the situation where you can prepare for the future. The Zetas to really go for, in my opinion, is first off, go for the leadership ability, because the protection up turns into something a lot more drastic, allowing light side allies to resist all debuffs and not be critically hit. That is huge. That's what makes a Padme Amidala team work in the first place. And then I would go for the unique ability second, because the unique ability gives you protection up when someone is trying to attack out of turn. And the best part is you cannot dispel this protection up. And then the Zetas afterwards are a bit more debatable. I'll tell you what I did. I mean, in the end, it seemed to be fine. Ahsoka Tano is kind of another thing that gets the Galactic Republic faction going, because with her Zeta on her unique ability, if you have a Galactic Republic leader in the slot, she's able to constantly be called to assist whenever another Galactic Republic ally is using a special ability. And if you know Ahsoka Tano, every time she's using her basic, she's dispelling buffs, and she can also dispel debuffs off of a random ally. So it's kind of enough, it's good enough to keep the constant buff dispels, get rid of taunts, and get rid of important buffs on the enemy team, as well as keeping your team up to snuff and trying to keep the debuffs to a minimum on your team as well. A passive cleanse that just keeps happening on the basic is pretty big. Then I went for Anakin Skywalker, and this Zeta is going to be incredibly important for the Darth Revan matches you're going to be facing, because if Padme is an ally, she takes a bonus turn after each of Anakin's bonus turns. So why this is important is that Anakin's going to get ticked off when someone falls below 100%, or when they fall below the 50% health threshold or gets defeated. And the reason why that's important is because, keep in mind, what happens when you fall below 50% health up against a Darth Revan team? Death mark applies. And why this is important is Anakin's going to take his bonus turn to kind of get ticked off, but he's going to call Padme as well to get his bonus turn. And how that works out is Padme is going to quickly drop off the death mark because she's taking an immediate turn. So if someone falls below 50% health, death mark applies to Padme. Padme gets a bonus turn because Anakin got a bonus turn. Death mark's going to drop off quickly. So it's an easy way to make sure you're not getting Padme defeated right away. Lastly, I went with General Kenobi with his Sorasu unique ability, where he's going to constantly gain taunts for one turn whenever another Galactic Republic ally loses any protection up. And this opens up some interesting things where you can get Yoda to use his battle meditation, spread protection up, and in turn that causes Kenobi to taunt. And just in general, getting Kenobi to constantly taunt, it forces the enemy to attack Kenobi, and if you're attacking out of turn against Kenobi, if you have the Padme Amidala unique Zeta, he's going to keep getting undispellable protection of turning him into almost a Great Wall of China. And then lastly, Padme Amidala's modding situation. I'm still working on the modding. She's my current mod project for the Galactic Republic, but the most important mechanic to keep in mind is the protection up capabilities, because protection up allows you to make sure you're increasing your survivability on your team, and protection up is based on how much max health your character has. So the way I've been modding most of my team is making sure they have a lot of health mods, and I've been 6-studying a lot of health mods lately, because the larger the health pool, the more protection up they're going to be getting in return. So I've been giving a lot of health and whatnot, and I've been modding these teams more for a Darth and Darth Malak counter. I made a video a while ago talking about how a slow Padme Amidala seems to be the better way to take out Darth Revan and Malak. And then Anakin Skywalker, I don't have the ideal modding situation. I wish I had some more potency on him because being able to get healing immunity and buff immunity seems to be so important to controlling Darth Revan and Malak. And then the rest, I gave him health sets as well as offense mods because Anakin, he puts out massive damage if he's in a full Galactic Republic team. So health set mods, offense, and potency seem to be the way to go for Anakin Skywalker. And this is where I have him currently. Definitely can improve, but that's something we're working on right now. Ahsoka Tano, she's going to be constantly calling out a turn to assist if you have the Zeta on her, and she puts out some pretty good damage. And because she keeps attacking frequently, you want to try to make sure she's got some good offense mods on hers. Again, we're still working on it, but because she's mainly trying to put out damage for you constantly, and especially once she gets to protective maneuver, she can put out some really good, juicy damage. So health and offense seems to be the way to go, and I have zero concern about speed because she's constantly taking turns over and over again. So there's not too much concern for speed, it seems. And then Kenobi, the big man Kenobi, kind of like what we've been talking about. Health mods all across the board seem to be the way to go. I have protection right here. Don't have a health mod, but a protection is probably the next best thing. And we got more health right here because you want to make sure Kenobi is as tanky as possible. And when he keeps getting protection up, he's just going to be a very, very durable character. And if you are going to go a bit beyond the beaten path and go for like more interesting things like I showed Chewbacca and Barriss, again, if you're going to use Chewbacca and Barriss or other Galactic Republic characters, if you don't know exactly where to start with modding, probably modding for health is probably the best place to start for Padme Amidala and her crew. All right, so what we're going to do now to wrap up this video is do some live gameplay of me going up against Darth Revan and Darth Malak, and it also is going to show you the potential of a Gear 13 Padme Kenobi as well as Anakin Skywalker, because those are the Gear 13 characters I currently have. So how this is going to work is you're going to go let everyone do their nasty stuff. It's too bad my Padme looks to be a little faster than my Ahsoka and C-3PO, but what we're going to end up doing is throw up this cunning plan. Let's cleanse up Kenobi, make sure he's ready to start taunting again, as well as Anakin Skywalker. And once we got that beautiful protection up, we're good to go here. So here we go. Now we got protection. We got protection up. We have tons of courage on Kenobi, and we have a taunt put out here. And what we're gonna do is just slowly tap away at Sith Trooper. Since I can't stall out my courage, we're gonna have to use it. And Malak, he counters all of the courage, because with courage, it's a health-based effect, and Malak takes reduced damage from health-based effects. So here we go. It's a very nasty beginning as to how this works. And generally, you would like to try to give the translation over to Kenobi, because through C-3PO, his unique ability, Intermediary, he would grant protection up to Kenobi. But unfortunately, we have shock, buff immunity. And so most likely what we're going to do is give it over to Anakin, because there's really no other good opportunity here. There we go, looking spiffy. So now what I'm going to probably do is let's try to take out Basilisk Shan Fallen right here. This should be a big AoE damage right here. We'll give some protection up, but because we have a lot of buff immunities and shocks, I'm probably just going to stick to my basic ability right here. So here we go. 1 hit, 2 hits, boom, she is gone. And now what I'm probably going to do is try to land a stun. Now, Padme Amidala has a very cool, unresistible or undispellable stun. You can resist it, but it can't be dispelled. So we're going to probably try to throw a stun over on HK-47. Boom, and he's almost done. We got the healing immunity. Let's throw a cleanse up here. This is going to call Ahsoka to assist right here. And in a moment, hopefully, we can take out HK-47. Let's just use our special ability. This is going to grant us some protection up and some extra damage. Boom. So now we're coming down to Darth Revan and Darth Malak, really. So let's start getting ready. Let's try to put some confusion over on Darth Malak. Didn't happen. All right, so what we're going to do is start slowly doing our dance. Let's go finish off the Sith Trooper right here, because he's going to get in our way and taunt in a moment. So there we go. All right, and now this should put a nice little dent in Darth Revan. Boom. All right, so now we just need another good hit on him, and we should be good to go. All right, let them do their thing. It's going to get a little nasty. Counterattacks, that's all good. Anakin's going to take his bonus turn. He is ticked off. Let's go and throw a healing immunity over on Darth Malak, and we got the buff immunity. Beautiful. Let's go cleanse, not call Ahsoka to assist, because I don't want her to get in the... I don't want her to get fear. And let's see. Oh, let's just use our basic. This should probably get rid of him. Let's see what we can do. Boom, boom. He's gone. And now we're coming down to the final song and dance with Darth Malak. And ladies and gentlemen, it's if you have the mods right and the zetas right, these battles are not all that complicated to finish up. That healing immunity on Anakin is so important. That's why you try to want to get him potency on that cross, because potency is going to ensure you land the buff immunities and you land the healing immunities. And right there, Padme Amidala, that is her biggest highlight, taking out Darth Revan and Darth Malak, and that's a lot cleaner than using a General Grievous nuke team. So that's gonna wrap it up for today's video, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of stuff thrown in here. Hopefully the video was helpful, so you can kind of understand the potential overall viability of Padme Amidala, why she's important to get now, and she has a lot of future, I think, ahead of her. Comment down below, how have you beaten the event? What other uses have you found out of Padme? Would love to hear your thoughts, as well as others. Like if you did enjoy it, comment down below, be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing, and I will talk to all of you people in the next video. Peace out, everyone.
Party Richter, Party Richter. Get down, 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 down. Party Richter, Party Richter. Son of a bitch. Party Richter, Party Richter. Get down, down, down.